Before starting, I'll just give a brief introduction of myself. I'm Varshith Reddy. I'm from Hyderabad, Telangana. So this is my third attempt. In my first attempt back in 2023, I was able to clear the prelims, but not the mains. In my second attempt, I failed to clear the prelims. And this is my third attempt where I secured rank 259. So that's about my journey. I'm having economics as my optional. And since my first year, I've been doing self-preparation. I've not been any part of any foundation course, but I've taken help of test series, evaluations, and mentorship, but not any foundation GS course, etc. So I'll divide the session between prelims, mains, and interview, and then I'll take your questions, whatever you have, one by one, and I'll try to keep it bilingual. I'll just try to speak in Hindi and English wherever possible, and then I'll take your doubts at the end. All the doubts would be addressed at the end for sure. Okay, I'll just give a brief points on prelims because recently the prelims has been completed, and for the next prelims there's a huge time to go. तो अभी के लिए हिंदी मेंस इज व्हाट आई फील इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. तो सबको मेंस की प्रिपरेशन करना जरूरी है, एंड देयर इज अ नीड फॉर इंटीग्रेटेड प्रिपरेशन ओवर द टाइम. सो जस्ट फॉर द प्रीवियस पार्ट, in my first attempt, I secured 80 marks in GS1, and right now I got 113. So I have a good jump, I could say. So there are a few factors which have helped me in this. So I would just mention those points, what has actually helped me in prelims. So the first thing you want to do in prelims is finish the syllabus, whatever you have. You don't want to neglect any subject, be it science and technology, environment, economy, everything. So once you're done with the syllabus, then you go on to the mocks and you attempt many questions as possible. That is like how it is usually prescribed. But what I've done differently this year is the focus which I've given to PYQs. I've attempted PYQs in the previous attempt also. मैंने बहुत PYQs solve किए थे. पिछली बारी में पिछले 10 साल की पूरी PYQs मैंने attempt करे थे. But this time what I've done differently was I read every option carefully. I tried to understand the mindset of the paper setter, where how does he frame the question, कौन से option गलत जा रहे हैं, क्यों जा रहे हैं, how it is made wrong. So that's what I tried to analyze more, and I think that actually helped. You can try that. You can try to play with the questions, how the options are framed, how the questions are made wrong. So this is something which you do after you complete your syllabus in prelims. For the CSAT part, I know many people have been facing issues with CSAT. Fortunately or luckily, I would say I didn't have much trouble with CSAT, and that helped me take down a certain level of burden because I scored 132 this year. So for CSAT specifically, if you want my suggestions, I would say CSAT is something where you need more and more practice. But something which I did differently for CSAT, coming from an engineering background, I would say is we focus more on trial and error methods, where we try to solve the question based on the options rather than a fixed set of formulas. So when you try to do that, try to put the options into the question, then you might solve certain mathematical questions there, but it is more of practice which you have in the prelims. So this is a quick glance of prelims, I would say, because given the prelims is done and you want to be focusing on mains, I would give more time for mains. And actually that would help you more, because that is what would give you the rank. The marks of mains are more important comparatively. Okay, so unlike prelims, mains के लिए you have a proper syllabus, right? So आपको proper each point defined रहेगा. So you have a proper set syllabus for all GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4. So I would highly recommend you have a proper notes for every small topic in the syllabus. So that would be a first step. So be it society, all the low-hanging subjects such as the internal security, where many people neglect in the start. So you should have notes for these. You start preparing from right from the start whenever you're reading it. Why would I say that? Because between prelims and mains, the time is very less. You have roughly 2.5 months, and that wouldn't be enough for you to complete the notes, answer writing, everything in that short span of time. तो आपको स्टार्टिंग से ही नोट्स बनाते चलना चाहिए. So you read the subjects, maybe in the second reading or third reading, you can start making notes. And for every small topic, you can make notes. And how to make those notes, what all to add, I'll just explain that briefly in the later part. So once the notes are ready, the most important thing is the answer writing. So previously, when I was undergoing preparation, one of my senior who also got a rank 2 years back, he gave me a 3 point framework for writing answers, and I think it's really helpful. So those 3 points were structure, speed, and value addition, all three while addressing the demand of the question. So let's go. Let's break it one by one. So one is structure. So when you have the demand, when you have the question, you have a 10 marker, 15 marker. You need to frame the question answer in such a way that it is properly structured. So you have two subparts in a 10 marker usually, and three in a 15 marker. So you can get the structure right from the question itself, and that's how you want to place it in the answer. The second is the speed. So you all know that writing 20 questions in 3 hours is really tough, and that you get it with more of practice. So this time I wrote a lot more mocks compared to my previous attempts, and actually that helped in increasing my speed. And third is the validation. So once you're done with the structure and speed, then you can focus on validation for the answer writings. So let's go from point by point. For mocks, I would say in the current attempt between prelims and mains, I wrote 3 mocks for each GS in a whole. So I think that actually helps in increasing your speed comparatively. So answer writing, you could start writing 1 or 2 answers once you're done with your first reading. Initially, your answer would not be that great. जब मैंने पहला आंसर लिखा था, that was really bad. But over the time, when you finish all subjects, you start, using knowledge across dimensions. That will actually help you, frame better answers. So that's an important point. That is writing multiple answers. The second thing is PYQs. Now, PYQs, usually the themes get repeated. Certain questions get repeated in an indirect way. So you have questions on certain history questions or about certain dynasties or certain questions from polity. They might come in a different manner, let's say uniform civil code. So it usually repeats sometimes or the other. And that actually helps when you solve the PYQs and make your notes according to the PYQs. So try solving at least past 10 years PYQs, especially in papers like ethics. PYQs are really important because case studies are a limited set of case studies, right? So you have case studies coming again and again. And when you solve those PYQs, it will actually help you in addressing the questions. So I'll take the questions which are coming in the live section at the end. I'll open the chat properly and I'll answer every question at the end. First, let's go through the points which I have written. It is a short session, right? So we talked about structure, we talked about the speed, the mocks, and the PYQs. Another important thing which I want to mention is the integrated preparation which is required across GS subjects. In 2025, when I wrote my mains, I've observed few GS4 type questions coming in GS2. So when you prepare in silos, you won't be able to address the questions coming from one GS across GS papers. So it is important that you try to use the learnings wherever you get. So let's say you learn certain points in economics, and that might be used in society, and vice versa. So you should be open so that you can use the facts across papers. You can use your knowledge across papers, and should not be restricting yourself to one paper specifically. Then let's go into the value addition part. So I did a lot of value addition for this year. Last year when I couldn't clear my mains, maybe there were a few issues. I started to address all of them one by one, and I felt value addition was also one of the part. So this time I started gathering a lot of facts, quotes, and the most important part is you can't just dump the facts. Those facts should be as per the question. Now you might have a question that how do you get the value points? How do you know what are important, what are not? So what I've done this year is I made use of artificial intelligence a lot. And I would suggest you to do it also. Even a person who doesn't know about AI, you at least know about ChatGPT and Gemini. And I think you should use it a lot because over the years, the people preparing for UPSC evolve. And when your competitors or the other peers started using it, start taking benefit of it, I think even you should take use of it. So how you can use it? So let's say आपका एक topic है, globalization is a topic, right? So you can put the globalization topic. You can properly give a prompt to Gemini that let's say I'm so and so person preparing for UPSC. I'm making notes of certain topic. and globalization में मेरे को facts चाहिए and whatever you want, right? So you can ask it facts. You can ask, you can give it so it gives you good curated content of facts. You can also give the PYQs to the model and ask it to give him better answers. You can ask it to predict questions for the future based on the past themes. So you explore AI as much as you can, given you have the time. I would say you, if you want to put it differently, say आप लोग ना, you can give it the PYQs, give the entire data bank. You feed the AI with the data bank, feed the AI with the syllabus, feed the AI with the questions, and start preparing with the help of it. So it will help you it helps in a lot, right? It gives you content, it gives you answers, it gives you questions, right? So you can do this. Try playing with the AI, and I would say that it really helps you. Okay. The next important thing I would mention is the topper copies. So when I used to write my answers in my first attempt, I used to look at the model answers of the coaching key, and I used to look at the evaluation, and I used to compare my answers. But I never went deep into topper copies. So what happens when you look at topper copies is two. The first important thing is you'll understand how the toppers are writing and what points are you missing in the answers itself. So it helps to improve your answers. The second is you'll get the valuation from the topper copies itself. So you'll get a lot of chart diagrams. You get a lot of anecdotes. Let's say for essay, you get a lot of introductions. How can you start? Good quotes, or you can get how they're structuring the answers. So you get to learn a lot from topper copies. So you can, let's say you can take up a topper copy. You can take the question. You can write your answer, and then you can compare it to the topper copy. It really helps. आप लोग को भी जरूर ट्राई करना चाहिए. You take a copper copy, then आप लिख के उससे compare कर लीजिएगा. It actually helps. It will gradually improve your answers when you start having a healthy comparison with the toppers on how they're writing their answers. Okay. Other important point which I want to mention is the current affairs. Now, current affairs is such a vast topic, be it for prelims or the mains. But specifically, when you look at for mains, if you take out the current affairs magazines, they're usually really bulky. And what I did this time is I started identifying few important current affairs and making notes of it. Let's say in the before mains, let's say for 6 months, you have few important news going on. So, for example, let's say a war is going on with Russia and Ukraine. That's really important for international relations. So, similarly, you have certain topics. Try identifying few important topics and making notes out of it. So, you make the notes in the question answer format so that you can expect the same questions coming into the actual paper. That is one way. You also write many mock tests. So you also have current affair related questions coming in the mock test also. So you also get few questions from there. So you make a restricted or small list of current affairs topics and prepare them holistically rather than running behind a lot of current affairs topics. So that is what I did. You can try to look into that. And apart from that, when you specifically look at my optional is economics. It's not that a common optional, but if someone has economics, I just want to mention briefly about economics. Before going to the optional itself, I want to just touch upon the point. Like I've seen many people have not yet decided on what optional they want to take. If someone is still in a dilemma of to choose their optional, I would say there are a few points to consider before going for an optional. Given my optional is one of the rare one and not that highly scoring. So for someone who wants to go for an optional, consider a few points. One is the background or how much interest are you having on subject. आप उस subject को across the years पढ़ पा रहे हो कि नहीं? Because you should go into deeper into the optional subject, right? So you should have some set of interest into it. Second is the scoring potential. No, all optionals usually do not have the same scoring potential. Let's say the technical subjects are considered a bit hard. So it's up to you. How much interest do you have? How much scoring potential subject as a whole has, and the resources which you need to have. Let's say a person is in Hindi medium, and not many resources are available for all the optionals. Similarly, even in English medium, certain optionals do not have a good content or good test series out there in the market. So look for all these aspects before choosing an optional, and then you can take a call on the option. For economics optional specifically, so there are paper 1, paper 2. Paper 1 is the complete theoretical concepts where you have the macroeconomics, microeconomics, international economics, and all the theoretical aspects. And paper 2 is the Indian economy. Few specific points to optional is economics specifically is you need to draw a lot of diagrams. That is not a myth. That is a fact for economics because you also need a lot of facts to be put in, a lot of diagrams to be put in because economics is a subject which requires them to be there. If you have a background in economics, you surely understand that. And for paper two, you need more of the current economists, their point of views. You want them to be on paper. The subject as a whole is a bit bulky, but if you have interest in economics, you can surely have a look into the subject. So last year I've scored 230 in economics. This time I got 252. I slightly improved, but there's still scope for economics. Maybe you should aim for a bit more. But for any optional in general, the most important thing for any optional is the PYQs because a lot of PYQs in optional get repeated. Every year you could see many of the questions being repeated. It is common for every optional. So whatever optional you choose, just don't miss the PYQs because they are like sure shot way you get questions which you can answer directly, right? Now this is a quick brief points on all prelims mains which I have done. I would like to know what specific queries do you have. Then I can move it accordingly. So I'll just go from the start. I'll just have a look at your questions and then we can go in, right? So someone asked, should I give mains mock suggest analysis of topper copies? If yes, how many simulation exams specifically? So, okay, so it is not this versus that. So you're comparing mains mocks versus analysis of topper copies, right? I would say both are important. So I would say what I have done. So topper copies is something which are important to learning what toppers are writing, what how they are framing their answers. That actually helps you understand the real life situation. So let's say if you're writing a coaching mocks, they'll give a model answer which is not realistically possible to write it exactly in the 3 hours condition. But when you look at the toppers copies, you'll understand how they are thinking because they are fellow aspirants like you, we are fellow aspirants like you. So you'll understand how the toppers think. How do they write the answer accurately in the 3 hours time format which they have, and that help you to do it. Well, at the same time, mains mocks are also important. One is to you want to finish the paper in 3 hours. That is important. So the speed it comes from it. The mocks also give you good amount of good type of questions. So it's a reverse engineering, right? You can get good questions, good themes, good value addition from model answers. So I would say you should do both. So if you are in the starting stage of your preparation, once you're done with the first reading, you should write. So let's say you finished polity. For your first revision is done. You have started making your notes. Then you start writing daily answers. Then you go for GS wise mocks along with the topper copies analysis. So don't do this or that. Just keep doing both of them as a whole, right? Okay. Someone asked how to make notes. Okay, so see, making notes is something which is personal to everyone. It depends on what you remember, what you want to remember. So for specifically in my case, how I made notes is I use a digital platform called OneNote. I divided it into multiple sections: GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 for mains, and then you have subsections for GS1. You have history, you have geography, you have society, etc. And within that, based on syllabus topics. So for mains, you have proper syllabus defined, right? So let's say society, you have urbanization, globalization. Within urbanization, you want to know the problems of urbanization, the solutions you want. So you make the notes in such a way that you're able to address the questions which come out from that topic. So you look at the PYQs, have the PYQs beside you, have the syllabus beside you, and then make the notes. If you start making notes directly, you will start dumping in a lot of content in the notes itself. So in the notes, you want what is important. So let's say if you have a topic like urbanization, you know the PYQs of urbanization, how they're framed. So based on that, you can make your notes. So try giving 1 or 2 readings, then you start making notes for any subject. Okay. Okay. How to prepare for optional? Optional के लिए कैसा prepare करें? So optional, it depends upon your subject, right? So for economics specifically, I could answer this question, but I'm not sure how many are there from economics. If anyone is there from economics, do comment. I can address your doubt. Okay, which stream I did my graduation. So my graduation, I've done my computer science engineering from BITS Pilani, and I also did my master's in economics. It was a dual degree course, 5 years course. So economics was one of my background subjects. So I chose my optional as economics. Now, it is not necessary that you choose your background subject as your optional. Um, it is up to you, because let's say you are from, let's say, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, or some subject which you do not have that much interest, or there are not many resources in the market. It is not necessary that you have to stick with that subject. If you like the subject, well and good, that will be really helpful for you. But if you're not able to do it, you can also go for a different optional. Shall I start prep after getting a job, or just start now only? Okay, so uh, I started my preparation right after my college. I didn't take up any job after my college. If you ask the question, if you specifically for me, I would say one attempt you can give wholeheartedly without any job. You can right after the college you can take that risk, but 1 to 2 attempts I would say. But after that, what I've done is I started appearing for other examinations as well. I appeared for SSC CGL, if anyone of you know it. It is exam conducted by Staff Selection Commission, and I got selected into as GST inspector. And I gave my last interview as a GST inspector. So I would say you can, based on your financial background and your आपकी फैमिली कैसी है, आपकी फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन कैसी है, उसके हिसाब से आपको डिसीजन लेना पड़ेगा कि यू वांट टू डू इट विद जॉब और विदाउट अ जॉब. बट आई वुड से 1 to 2 attempts is you can take it without a job, and then you can go for backup options. Okay. How do you overcome distraction with preparing UPSC? Okay, so what I used to do, I was active on social media. I used to follow YouTube, Instagram, etc. But between prelims and mains is when I cut off all these social media, etc. But apart from prelims and mains, between this period, I used to be active across media. But it is about your prioritizing the things, right? So when you are studying, जब आप पढ़ रहे हो, you actually want to study. So you try to set timelines. So you have multiple ways. What I used to do is I used to set a target for weekly targets and daily targets. So if I have to finish certain chapter, I used to finish the chapter, and then the rest of the time is free for me. You can do that way, or you can have time slots. You only study in this time slot, and the other time slot you put it for your distractions. So it's up to you. How do you channelize your thing? You have time slots or based on the content slots. So you should figure out what is working for you. How to manage time and when to start optional preparation. Okay, so I'm assuming that you are starting a preparation right now. When to start your optional preparation, I would say the sooner it is better. You could start the half day giving for GS subjects and half day for optional, or maybe let's say you could give a few days in a week for optional, few days in a week for GS. It also depends on your optional. My optional used to take around 5 to 6 months for completion. A few optionals takes lesser time. So based on an optional, plan it out in such a way that you're at least able to finish a good portion of your optional by December, January. And you can give at least few tests, not all of them. And let's say 80% of optional should be completed by December or January, so that you can gradually move into prelims preparation. Okay, so for someone who is there in the first year of the college, I would say if you're giving your attempt 2029, you have a good amount of time for your attempt, right? So you could gradually start preparing, not go on full on mode, because you do have to enjoy your college time as well, and that's what builds your personality, right? So you could rather give few hours, take up the NCRTs or take up the standard books, like say Lakshmikant or the Spectrum. Just give 1 or 2 hours a day whenever you're free, and gradually try to finish subject. Don't go in a hurry. Don't go in a way that you want to finish the entire syllabus in 1 year. Gradually you finish your subjects, and that if you do it that way, it actually keeps you in momentum and you won't get tired, because you have to sustain 3 years if you're giving it in 2029. So do it slowly. Gradually finish all subjects and make notes, and that will help you fasten your preparation once you get into the attempt cycle. Okay, some for UPSC, I'm studying in second year student. My first attempt 2029. How maintenance? So yeah, so it is the same question I just answered. Okay, आपको हिंदी में चाहिए. So देख, ये बता रहा हूँ कि अगर आप 2029 में अटेम्प्ट दे रहे हो, so आपको 3 years के लिए अटेम्प्ट सस्टेन करना, एफर्ट सस्टेन करना चाहिए. सो अभी डोंट गो ऑन फुल ऑन प्रिपरेशन. अभी के लिए आप जस्ट गिव फ्यू आवर्स, थोड़े थोड़े घंटे ही पढ़िए. बेसिक बुक्स को पढ़िए, लक्ष्मीकांत, स्पेक्ट्रम. ग्रेजुअली फिनिश द सिलेबस. पूरा सिलेबस फिनिश करने के बाद पूरा नोट्स मेकिंग पे फोकस करो. एंड वंस यू आर डन विद दैट, वो होने के बाद देन यू कैन ग्रेजुअली मूविंग इनटू आंसर राइटिंग एंड ऑल. सो डोंट गो ऑन अ फुल ऑन मोड. आप अब ये मत सोचिए कि अभी पूरा कर लूंगा मैं. ग्रेजुअली जाइए, पूरा सिलेबस पीवाईक्यूज कंप्लीट करिए, देन यू कैन एक्चुअली बी इन अ consistent mode. So what I would always say for UPSC preparation is not how many hours you study, because I honestly didn't study 12 to 14 hours, which people say. I used to study 6 to 8 hours before prelims, and between prelims and mains 8 to 10 hours. So 6 hours on a consistent basis, I think it is important. So consistency is what is more important rather than having doing it for few days and stopping it again and again, right? How should I manage class notes and standard books together? Okay, so what happens is when you are going for a coaching, you have a set of notes coming out from that, right? So what you want to specifically do is you want to integrate the content between class notes and standard books. So what you do is, आप वैसे भी जा रहे हो क्लासेस, तो आपके पास क्लास नोट्स तो होंगे ही. तो आप लोग क्या करो कि यू रीड द स्टैंडर्ड बुक्स इन अ क्विक मैनर एंड यू जस्ट pull out those points which are missing from the class notes, so that you don't miss out on any specific fact. So you read that content and you can add those points in the class notes itself, wherever you are jotting down those points. So you have to integrate those two notes so that you have a holistic preparation. Every year the question pattern will be changing, specifically in mains. We don't know which topic is important for the exam, which not. So how could you face that thing? Okay, so the question patterns change in prelims, but when you observe it closely, the themes will remain same. Patterns change हो सकते हैं, but जो themes होते हैं ना questions का, वो तो repeat होंगे ही. Let's say in prelims you get questions from Jainism, Buddhism. In mains you get questions specifically from, let's say, Naxalism. So they are repeating, every twice a year, or I'm sorry, every other year. So you want to catch on those themes, right? So that's what PYQs help you. So it's not that you get the same question in the same way. Even if the pattern of the question changes, you have to be ready for that, so that you able to tackle any new question coming your side. If it is a completely new pattern, it is new for everyone, and that's where you want to be prepared, right? So for that you solve PYQ. So you have to face those questions, and that's what even mocks also teach you. Hello, sir. I'm currently in Bangalore searching for one or two good UPSC institutes, only offline class. If you know, will you say your opinion, sir? Okay. In my first attempt, I was preparing from Bangalore. I'm not very sure about the coaching classes out there, because I've done my self preparation. So I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to suggest any offline classes for that specifically. Yeah. Okay. How to tackle GS3? Okay, I'll specifically say because GS3, I think I got 99 marks this year. It is a decently good score. So in GS3, what is important is, GS3 में क्या होता है? You have many subjects in GS3. You have agriculture, you have internal security, science and technology, economics. You have many subjects, right? So GS3 is not just economics, as many people think, right? So you have to cover all the subjects, and certain subjects are fairly easy. Not easy in the sense they are actually, what happens is they are repetitive, very limited content is there. They're quick to complete. Let's say the cyber security topics or the internal security topics. You can finish them in a quick manner. So you have to make notes of every topic of those. And GS3 is current heavy. So you need current facts. Value addition is really important in GS3. So that will actually give you more marks in GS3. So what you should do is first finish off the basic syllabus, the content which you read from the standard books. Once you're done with that, then you can go on with the current affairs. In the current affairs, you can pick up the facts which are necessary. Let's say you have facts coming from any valuation materials. Let's say Vision Main 365 or something like that. And then you're also having content coming from newspapers. So you pick those content, and no, you just don't pick any content you get on your way, right? When you pick a content, you should know that where you'll be able to use them, right? And as I mentioned, I use a lot of AI for GS3 as well. I gave in the topics for GS3, let's say the economics topics or agriculture topics, I asked it, give me the best initiatives, case studies, best practices which are happening, what are the new current updates in that field. So it actually minimizes your effort, to do the value addition or to get the content. So try giving AI the prompts, put the content to it, and it will actually help you in solving it. Okay. So where am I? Just give me a second. Yeah. Every other question pattern will change, so I answer this question. How to start making notes for GST from basic? Yeah. So what you do is first you finish the polity content, entire content, wherever you're reading from, be it class notes or Lakshmikant. Once you're done with that, then you start making notes with the use of PYQs. As I mentioned earlier, PYQs को आपको बाजू में रखिए, syllabus को रखिए, and then make the notes based on what is asked from that specific topic. So you just don't make notes for everything. Let's say you have specific questions coming from Parliament. So what sort of questions are coming from Parliament? Based on that, only you make your notes, right? That will help you to address the questions. Okay. How to read current affairs? And suppose you have to attempt in 2027, then when should you start current affairs? Until when should you read it? Okay. One way is to read the newspapers regularly. That is one of the way which you could do. Personally, I started doing that, but I couldn't follow it regularly. What I did was I used to read the yearly magazines which come out. So for prelims, I used to read PD 365, and for mains, I used to read mains 365. Is what I used to do. So that helped me to a certain extent. But for mains, you need newspapers because some valuation points come really good from newspapers. So if you're able to read newspapers consistently, it will actually help you. But if you're not able to do it, then I think. Okay. I'm from Triple IT. How to make a good start in second year? Okay, I didn't get that question. Could you frame it better? Okay. Have you joined coaching or joined, and because there's need to join famous coaching for days or any is okay. So okay, I have not joined any coaching. I've done my self preparation. I've just taken test series, but not any coaching. So I won't be able to say which is good for in test series, but I can say one thing for sure is that coaching is not compulsory. If you want someone to guide you, or if you want someone to explain the things better, then you can opt for coaching. But if you're able to do it on your own, given the content which we have and YouTube and AI which we have, I think even without coaching also it works. How to prepare for mains till December? What should be the plan? Okay, so if you're starting your prep, so first thing is try finishing of the content. Let's say if you're starting it with GS1, read the basic standard books of GS1 of history. Then society, you can pick up the topics of syllabus and then you can finish it off. So plan out in such a way that you're doing it once. So you can start with GS1. It is more static heavy, not current heavy. So after GS1, maybe you can focus on GS2 or GS4. And at the last you can do is GS3. So try finishing it off by December, yeah, as I mentioned. So you can give maybe 1 month or 1.5 month, depending on how much you have read before and what your note status based on that. Yeah. Okay. Sources for economics. So is it for economics optional or for GS3 in economics? Could we mention? Okay, economic optional resources. So economic optional resources, I'll just mention the book list which I have followed. For paper 1, for macroeconomics, there's a book called H.L. Ahuja and Freuen. So these two are the books which I've read for economics, macroeconomics. For microeconomics also, there's a book of H.L. Ahuja. You can follow that. They're actually a bit bulky. I have not gone to optional coaching, so I've read these standard books. If you're going to coaching, you'll have the class notes. That would help. If you're not going to coaching similar to me, then you have to read these books. So for macro, you have Freuen and H.L. Ahuja. For micro, you have H.L. Ahuja. For international economics, you have Salvatore. Then for growth and development, you have Jingen, ML Jingen, that will do. For public finance, I think Musgrave and Musgrave, and I think, yeah, that'll work. And for paper 2, it's Indian economy. You have a book of Uma Kapila, authored by Uma Kapila. That is a good book. It's a bit bulky, but it is good. And Mishra and Puri. You can pick any one of those, and you can start your preparation. I think this will help. Okay. So current affairs and mains, I just addressed it. So the note-making process that you told that I'm finding overwhelming. So should you go for any coaching notes or topper notes? So See, if you have a time of 1 year, the self note making always helps, right? So if you know, see, notes making is not just you making notes; it also helps you in revising the content. So if you're finishing the standard content and then you're making notes, it'll actually help you while you're making notes also. If you want to go to take up any coaching notes or topper notes, you can. It's your personal choice. But after taking the topper notes, you also have to make your own content out of it, and you also want to make notes out of it again. So it depends on how do you want to do it. Personally, I made my own notes. It's up to you which you want to choose. Yeah, I made my short notes for mains. So initially, when you make the notes, they're usually long, but after multiple revisions, they start to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Yeah, I do had my short notes, and I do recommend that you make short notes because in that 2.5 months time, when you want, so you have GS 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2 days, so you write 2 papers in a day, so you can't just revise them without any short notes. So you need to have the short notes. Okay. So did you join coaching institutions? No, I did not join coaching institutions. Okay, my strategy is to okay, fine, sir. I've read Lakshmikant about 2 times, but still I feel like I don't remember anything. And can you please tell how to read a book? Okay, so you once you read a standard book, obviously you don't get to remember everything of that book. You always feel that you start to forget the content, but trust me, you don't forget the entire content. So what you have to do is once you read a book, then you're reading a next subject. You have a day in a week or certain hours in a week where you can revise the content which you have. So that actually keeps the thing fresh in your mind. So try active recalling whenever you can, and that actually keeps you. But you won't forget everything. It's just the fact that you're not revising it completely. You do frequent revisions; they'll stay in your mind, right? Okay. So during graduation days, I would suggest maybe 2 to 3 hours a day at max because you also have to do your graduation subjects as well. So after leaving out of the college, then you can focus more on it. But in the final year, you can push a bit harder. You can go for more number of hours. But if in the second or third year, I think you'd say go for 2 to 3 hours a day. So I already covered ACGL mathematics GP position. Both the exams are really different, but you have done both. Can you share the strategy here? Okay, SSCGL, I think it's a good backup for someone who are good at maths. Even for someone who is not, you anyways go for CSAT preparation, so you can focus on it. What I did was for CGL mathematics, given a maths background, I had a good touch of mathematic concepts. I did more of practice, so I solved more number of questions. Trust me, the questions in CGL are comparatively easier than CSAT. It's more about the time management and how quickly you solve the questions. So you need to do more practice. So I did attempt the paper when I couldn't clear my prelims last year. So in 2024, I could not clear the prelims. So that's when I attempted CGL. So I had good amount of time to practice questions. So that's when I did it. Yeah. It is possible to clear UPSC without any coaching. It's not necessary that you have to go for a coaching. Okay. Okay, you want me to elaborate on the usage of AI in mains? How did I use it? I actually told it clearly, but if you want me to elaborate more, I would do so. So, see, AI works in a way where you prompt it in an efficient manner, right? So, if you give it the proper prompts, it gives you the proper feedback, whatever required. So, what you do, what I did specifically was, I explained it. I gave it a proper setup where I'm preparing for so and so examination. This is the syllabus for the examination. I gave it the PYQs. I gave it the content, what all are required for it to give the proper, feedback. So give it with the PYQs, give it the model answers and all, and then you can ask it, "Ki, this is the topic which I'm preparing. Give me all the current, eminent personalities in that field, past committees in that specific field, or any judgments in that specific area." So what all value addition you want, it actually gives it which you require. So try playing it around. So once you get used to it, you'll actually able to give it the better prompts. Okay. So notes you're making in coaching is not our final notes. Okay, so the notes which you make in the coaching, right? They're the running notes. Okay. Uh, when you read more standard books, when you revise again and again, they start getting shorter and shorter. Now, you eventually read more content, you do more value addition. So they are the base of your notes. So if you're going to coaching, they can be the base of your notes, and then you can add more into it, right? So, but just ensure that you cover every point in the syllabus and make notes of every point in the syllabus. That will actually help in completing your notes, right? Time management and your daily routine, exact time you gave in a day for preparation. Okay. For a day in a preparation, I didn't have a strict schedule that for this hours I have to do this much. As I mentioned, I had content targets. Let's say I would say in this week I have to complete certain chapters of modern history. I used to do that. So it is more like I used to give more flexibility to myself and put content targets rather than timely targets. For number of hours, as I said, I used to read 6 to 8 hours before prelims. That is what I had. Okay, I'm not able to complete syllabus within time limit, so I need coaching now. Okay, so it depends upon why you're not able to do it. So try to identify the issue. If you're not able to understand the concepts, then maybe you need someone you want to explain it. But is it because of your distractions or something? Then I think you have to take a call on it. Mentorship, okay, it is something which will actually help you. You can consider mentorship, but try to choose a really good mentor because given a lot of mentors out there, you want to have someone who is actually helping you, and eventually self prep is important. You have to do it by yourself after a point. Okay, my background, I think I've mentioned it. For geography specifically, the 11th and 12th NCRTs are good. I think they'll actually help you. Then they're more than enough. JC Leong is there, but I think the NCRTs are good. Every topper says read UPSC syllabus as many times as you can, but I'm unable to understand syllabus as being from science background. So how do I deal with it? So, see, it's not just reading the syllabus. It's like you don't have to, just sit with the syllabus all the time. What they mean from reading the syllabus is for mains, you have a defined syllabus. So you have all the points mentioned properly, right? So you want to make notes out of every point in the syllabus. So let's say you have some governance point or you have something in the economics. It's infrastructure is a point, right? So you want to have infrastructure, you have roads, railways, and also you want to make the content of every point from the syllabus. So that is what they mean from it. So every point in the syllabus, you need to have notes of it ready so that you can answer questions. And how to expand the syllabus is you get from PYQs. So you have the syllabus, you have the PYQs. PYQs will help you understand the limits of the syllabus. So you just can't keep on going on reading the syllabus, everything under the sun, right? So PYQs will provide you the boundaries till where the UPSC is expecting from that syllabus points. So you have to, have them aside and you have to plan it accordingly. Echo optional paper one is too tough. I'm weak in math. Okay, usually maths questions are not as much in paper one. You have one or two numericals, but I never attempted the numericals. So you can still go into optional without knowing maths. Paper one is tough in a sense it's too bulky. You have a lot of content to be read, but you have interest in it. I think it makes it easy. But maths won't be a hurdle for paper one preparation. Okay, someone who asked me that my GS3 marks are good and economic optional helped you in that. It helped me in economics part, but I would say economics is not the only part in GS3. Out of 5 subjects, just one of it. So it is roughly around 20 to 25%. Other parts are also important. So GS3, what is important is how you are able to read all the topics in GS3, the facts which you can bring in, the value addition, and how you're able to address the demand of the question. So given usually there are current heavy questions, we try to answer what we know rather than what is asked in the question. So you rather have to identify the actual demand of the question and put in the value addition required for that question. So put some effort for GS3, and I think it is rewarding. So you have to prepare beforehand the committees or the content whatever you have, and should not leave the small subjects low hanging fruits in GS3. So economics option did help me, but I would say I specifically focused on GS3 because in my first attempt, also I had economics optional, but I got 84. So I specifically worked for GS3, and I think it actually helped. Okay. Current affairs, so much noise and chaos. What's a recommendation for that approach? Whether to go for monthly magazines, current affairs? See, if you're able to read newspapers, it is good. It gives you a continuity in your preparation. So whenever you read the magazines later on, it actually helps you to connect the dots properly. It also gives you validation points also. So I think newspapers do help. But again, if you're not able to follow it thoroughly, annual compilations I think are enough. Monthly magazines, I felt they're too bulky. I never found time to revise them again and again. So I relied on annual compilations specifically. How do I make the notes from economics from HL Ahuja and all? Yeah, I mean, I read the books. It's the same process, right? Same as GS. You have the PYQs, you read the HL Ahuja, and you get to know what kind of questions are asked in a specific subject, and then you make notes out of it. Okay, someone is asking me about the book list. I would give it, but it is the same as what others say. So if you want me to go one by one, I'll just go on. For history, I read the old NCRTs. There are three books for modern, medieval, and ancient. You also have the new NCRTs. It's up to you, whatever you choose. But choose either one of those. For geography, as I mentioned, I went with 11th and 12th NCRTs and GC Leong. So 11th and 12th NCRTs are enough. But then for society, I took a coaching material, I guess. One of my friend gave me a yellow book of society. I think that I made notes out of it. For post-independence and world history, it's you can Google out the content. You also have uh, some coaching material content coming out, or you also have magazines coming in for that topics. For GS2, for quality, it's Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant would be enough for prelims. For mains, again, you want to pull out content from PYQs for quality. Then for international relations and governance, I focus on current affairs and I made notes out of the each point in syllabus for governance, right? For GS3, economics, it's from my optional, economics and agriculture. Internal security, I made notes out of Googling each point. You can also rely on some materials available in the market. You can take any of the materials, be it from Vision IAS or from Vajiram, wherever you get the content. And then you can, ask artificial intelligence or Google on giving on the value addition. Science and tech is again coming from current affairs. Disaster management. Disaster management, what you can do is for every disaster, try writing on the best initiatives and solutions, the damages, and way forward which you can have for every disaster. You can use NDMA website for that, or you can also search in Google for disaster management. So this is what I have done. For ethics, case studies and PYQs are utmost important, and then you can start googling on each topic, right? It's like it's honesty, integrity. For value addition also, you have topo copies and Gemini or ChatGPT is what I used. So these are the basic books which I've used. Okay. How do you make notes? Which means test series you took and at what phase of preparation? I took test series after my prelims. If you're able to write it before prelims, it's good. But I didn't get the enough time to write before prelims, so I took test series after prelims, and I wrote Vision Abhyas and I wrote Forum ka simulators, and also one test for each. How to increase answer writing speed? As I've said, you have to write multiple answers for that. I think full length test series will actually help you in increasing your speed. On an average, you have 7 minutes for 10 marker and 11 minutes, 10 to 11 minutes for a 15 marker. So if someone wants to increase the speed, I'll say a small trick. If it helps you, you can follow it. So what you do is you make half an hour time slots. So try to write 4 10 markers in half an hour rather than checking your speed in a full length test. Right. So what happens is when we start writing any test series, our writing speed is initially slow. We gradually pick up our speed, and by the mid second hour, we write really fast. But what you should do is you should write really fast in the first start go itself. So how can you do that? So try writing 4 10 markers or 3 15 markers, any one of these two, in half an hour. So this will actually increase your speed. Okay. For art and culture, I followed Nitin Singhania. You have 11th class NCRTs there. I read it's a very thin book. You can read that NCRT. Then you can read Nitin Singhania, but Nitin Singhania, not all the chapters. What are coming from PYQs, you can just focus on those. Okay. Okay. Don't take any coaching. How much time did you manage to cover every subject? How much time it took to? So I started my preparation my last year of my college. So I used to gradually read subjects like 1 or 2 hours a day and made notes out of it. So it takes time, but it actually helps you in revision also. So it's both pros and cons are there, I guess. Okay, I gave my book list. Should I join any coaching or prepare myself? I think it's a choice. I prepared by myself. If you're able to understand the concepts, if you're able to, read the subjects, if you find it interesting, you can do it by self preparation itself. Coaching is not something which is absolutely necessary. How to revise standard books multiple times? Trust me, revision is really boring, but I think it's inevitable also. So you put certain slots. So what you do is you have some interesting topics, right, in your favorite subjects. Try reading them, and whenever you go other way, you read the revision topic. So let's say you finish polity, you finish GS1 today, and then you're starting GS2. As I mentioned, you put a day in a week where you also revise GS1 while doing GS2 as well. So it should be in a circle and not in a linear way where you forget things, right? How old are you now? I'm 25 right now. Yeah. I'll be turning 26. Yeah. Okay, could provide no okay, political science honors students. If you want to build a career in PCS, what would I focus on during the rush to get in that one? Can you follow mains oriented notes of coaching instead of making your notes? See, that is always a choice you have, option you have, right? You can always follow coaching notes. So what you can do is you can use the notes or some toppers notes as the base, and then you can add on top of it if you want to. So it's your choice. I made a choice of making my notes, but if you feel that you have less time, then you can do that as well. Environment ecology, I followed PMFIS. So I felt PMFIS is a bit colorful, थोड़ा अच्छा content था उसमें. So I found that book more readable. So I went with PMFIS, and it's a really good book. I would say you can go with PMFIS. For history and geography, I did not take any classes. For history, I read the three books of old NCRTs, and for geography, I read the NCRTs of 11th and 12th, and I think they are sufficient. History is just history. You don't need any, someone to explain history. Some people find it boring, but it's not something which is conceptual. Someone to teach you, right? So you can read history. Geography is sometimes conceptual. Let's say the formations of cyclones or certain topics. Try giving it a read. If you're able to understand it, good. If you're not able to, you have many YouTube channels which explain concepts. You have so you can go on YouTube. Just go into the YouTube and put the topic and put UPSC up beside that and press enter. You'll have a lot of content coming in. Okay. I am from BTech background. I have computer science background and also have masters in economics. Okay, how do you improve your answer writing skills? Answer writing skills, I would say it's more from practice. I would say it also coming from speaking. Also, it's more from practice. You write more, you get. So just focus on those three things: speed, structure, and validation, while addressing the demand of the question. So these three are the main, mantra. I would say you could do it. Ancient and medieval history, the old NCRTs I've read. You can also read the new NCRTs. Choose any one of those two. Okay. So any more questions, or should we wrap it up? Starting next week from scratch, can I clear you? I can't answer the question, can I clear it? Everyone can clear it. Just keep hope, put your efforts, give a strong attempt, and then you should think about it later on. First, finish the subjects and the content, right? Mains answer writing, you can start after giving one complete reading. That's what I would suggest. So read complete reading of, let's say you first finish GS 1, 2, 3, you give one reading of it, then it's better you can write after it because you'll have a holistic content with you. Okay. The right preparation path or not, as I have no one around me who's preparing for, or no one have no guidance. Okay, I was in this space initially. So once you start preparing, right, you start attending tests or you start writing answers. You should gradually see improvement in your answers. right? Your answers will be your own metric. Start comparing with your own self. Let's say you're writing an answer, the first answer, and after a month you write another answer. You should see an improvement in your answers, right? I mean, coaching marks of the answers which you give are they're not completely reflective of your improvements. You should be able to judge your answers, right? If you find your answers are good, you can compare with topper copies. You're seeing that will actually help you show you're in the right path or not, right? Okay. Have you read Spectrum? Yes, I have read Spectrum. Spectrum for prelims is more important. For mains, NCRTs were important and PYQs were important. Spectrum is important for prelims. Okay, please reply to my query. Could you please post your query again? Yeah. One book. I don't remember exact time on how much I read a standard book. I think it's hard for me to answer. My option is economics. Yeah, for college student, I mentioned it, right? So focus on your college, focus on your college studies. But still, if you want to prepare, give 1 to 2 hours, max 3 hours a day. If you're in second or third year, if you're in fourth year, you can push your limits and you can give more number of hours. But don't put too much pressure on yourself on second and third years. Right? Okay. Handwriting. How to deal with social pressure and expectations? I think it's a personal question, but you should actually cut it off for a while because you will face pressure and expectations as long as you're giving this examination, and that is something which can't be set aside completely. But try being surrounded with a positive people, and thoda negative thoughts ko keep it aside. That will actually help you. Handwriting speed कैसे push करें? As I've told, try following this flash writing exercise where in 30 minutes you try to answer 4 10 markers or 3 15 markers. So if you do this 30-minute slots frequently, you'll be able to gain speed in answers, right? Can it be done in 11 months? And yeah, it can be done, right? So it depends on. See, I wouldn't say it will be done in the first month or something, but yeah, it is still possible. If you stay consistent, it is possible. Okay. You're a political science honors student. If you want to build a career in PCS, what should I focus on during graduation to get an advantage in the exam? Okay, so if you're a political science honors student, the first thing I would say is if you're really liking the subject, you can choose same subject as optional. So focus on your graduation subject more. So it will actually help you while examination. And also, focus on your college. It'll also help in building your personality because for interview, that is something which comes across the years, not just initial stage of preparation. So enjoy your college life and at the same time focus on academics so that can be used as your optional. My interview, okay. I've scored 206 in my interview, and it was a good score this year, and actually that helped me get a good rank. Um, interview preparation is something which is more exciting after the mains because that is more where you shape your opinions. You learn on how to answer the questions, how to be more balanced. Um, that is something which is exciting, but that comes after mains. So for interview, I all my questions were around opinions. They were based on questions on state bifurcations of Telangana, about inclusive development, about artificial intelligence, about cryptocurrency. These are the questions which are asked in my interview, and I think I answered them well, given I got a good score. This didn't actually help me. Yeah. Do you read economics daily? No, not daily. I used to give few days in a week, but it's up to you. You can give half a day for economics and half a day for GS. Okay, how to use GS example in GS4, right? So, see, when you read a GS example, try understanding how it can be used in GS4. Not all GS examples can be used in GS4. A few examples of, NCRB of certain violence data or any case studies of any, village panchayat doing really well. So, any specific examples, try finding it out. Only those can be used, not all of them. Okay. How to do validation as many top suggestions and when to do it. Yeah, you do it when you do it your after first round of content is done. And as I mentioned previously, you can do it through artificial intelligence, through magazines, whatever works for you. Coaching is not necessary. It's not compulsory. It can be done even without coaching. How many hours did I study? As I've said before prelims, I've read 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. 6 hours is what I would say. Between prelims and mains, it's 8 to 10 hours. Okay, then I think any more questions? Yeah, if you're economics honor students, I think focus more on your college subjects. Usually, in some colleges, they teach you foreign authors. Then you should focus also on different authors. Take out the UPSC PYQs. Try to answer those questions. Focusing more on your economic subjects would actually help you. You know, try focusing on college subject. That will eventually help you. Okay. If there are no more questions, I think we can wrap it up. Just let me know. College CGPA above 8, good for interview. Okay, honestly speaking, the interview panel won't know your CGPA. I mean, they will know your CGPA, but it doesn't matter for them. That's what I meant to say. So they don't. I don't think they'll look into CGPA much. So because I've seen people with high CGPA getting less marks as well. So CGPA is not. Don't focus much, but CGPA is important for your personal development, not for interview. Right? I can't suggest you any coaching, Nancy. I'm not much into it. How to start essay writing? Okay, one essay writing. It's not that easy to write. 10 pages an essay right from the start. Go. Um, what you can do is pick up a topic, write an essay, how bad it may come. Do that frequently on every Sundays and look at topic copies or any. Or show it to anyone. Show it to anyone who is not even into UPSC preparation. They can also tell you how is the flow of the essay, how is the vocabulary and all. So start writing. I think that will help you. Okay. Mathematical economics, yeah, there are not many mathematical economics questions coming in. You have 1 to 2 questions which come, and you can tackle them if you practice those questions. You usually coming from ISLM model or some corner duopoly or something coming from those. You can practice them, but you can do even without mathematical economics because there are only few questions. You have optional questions in. So you know this, right? So in optional, you can choose questions. So all questions are not compulsory. So usually mathematical questions come in those choice questions. So you can leave those, but you can also prepare those. They're not that tough, right? Whenever I recall something and I'm able to remember it, I panic and I'm able to explain any topic. Okay, I mean, then try doing active recalling. As I said, in every week, put a day for revision. Don't try to force yourselves to recall. Just read the subject again. Just glance through the topics. They start sticking in your mind. How to check the answers if not taking any coaching? One thing is you can take a test series. They'll evaluate your answers. Second is you can have a topper copy for that. So let's say you can take a topper copy. You have it for free online. You can write the same answers for the questions. You can write the answer for the questions and compare with the topper's answers. So that will solve the purpose. Right? So someone asked me for entire journey. I think I mentioned it in the beginning. Um, just to put it through, this is my third attempt. Couldn't clear my mains in the first attempt. In second attempt, couldn't clear the prelims, and this is my third attempt, where I got ranked 259. Yeah, with economics as my option. Okay, guys. Yeah, I can speak Hindi, but not that comfortable in it. So I'm sorry if I'm not able to address in it. बात कर सकता हूँ, but I'll have a lot of grammatical errors in it. Yeah. Okay, guys. It was nice speaking to you all. I hope you continue your efforts, but try to be consistent in your preparation. And I would also thank UPSC Time for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. All the best for your attempts, and stay consistent with your preparation, and don't stop in between. Uh, Thank you.